Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to create an EDL from a Stereo Wav in Pro Tools. Now this is quite useful if you need to create a music cue sheet. I do this quite a lot to create music cue sheets. Basically what this is going to produce is a list of cues and their time codes where they start and end and their duration, which you can then use to fill in a music cue sheet. So if I just play this from the start, there's a test signal at the start, so we don't want that. So I'll just go in at 30 seconds. That's where the music starts. I'm just going to get rid of that and drag this back to the start of the session. As you'll see, the session starts at 10 hours. This is quite a standard thing for television. It starts at 10 hours. So that's exactly where the music starts as well. That's where the episode starts. And what I like to do before I start is to give this a different name, TX10 episode cue, and you'll see later on why I do that. So I've now got a stem with the episode cue unit. What we can do now is to go into Edit, Strip Silence. And what this will do is it will separate the cues, it'll take the silence out of the music mix, and only leave us with the cues, which is what we want. So I've experimented a little bit with the threshold here, and I find that minus 65 decibels is about right to capture all the fade outs. So yeah, that seems to work for me. Minus 65 decibels and strip. And that leaves us with all the cues separately like this. Now, these, sometimes you need to separate the cues out a little bit. So I happen to know that the opening theme is 38 seconds long. So I'll just go to 38 seconds here. And as you'll notice, I'm in grid mode and set to 1 second and the time code here. So I go to 38 seconds here, 38 seconds, and do an edit there. And I'm just going to name this cue opening theme. I'm not playing any of the audio here because actually this episode hasn't actually been transmitted yet, so I'd get in trouble if I did that. So we've got the opening theme, we've got all these episodes here, and we've got here the closing theme. So I'm just going to call this closing theme. Okay, you can also go into, if you've got separate cues within this, you might want to separate them out. So you might want to put an edit in here, for example, to split this into two different cues. It's up to you, but as this stands, because I'm the composer on all these cues, if these happen to run into each other, that's fine. But obviously if this cue is written by somebody else, you might want to separate that out and call it something else. There's also, in the middle of this episode, there's a song which starts about here. Like I say, I'm not going to play it for obvious reasons, but I'm going to edit that and call this TX10 song. Right, so the other thing that we quite often like to do is to just make sure that none of the edits that have happened, the silence that's been stripped, hasn't separated out what should be one cue. Again, I'm not going to play it, but if this cue and this cue weren't separate cues but actually part of the same cue, then I would do Command H just to heal those together into one cue. But I'm pretty confident that actually it's all fine. What you also might find is that sometimes you get just a tiny slither of audio, and so you can just go through and remove those because they won't actually be a cue. They'll just be, sometimes a little bit of audio that's kind of sneaked into the music stem. But we seem to be okay here. So we're ready to turn it into an EDL. So let's go up to File, Export, Session Info as Text. Now, you don't need any of this stuff here, really. Include track EDLs, all tracks. Well, we've only got one track here. Don't show crossfades. We don't really need that. Time code, format, time code, file format, text, edit text. That's what we want. We press OK. Now we'll save it to to the EDL folder. Now if I go into EDL folder and click on this, it comes up with this. So this is basically what we've got here. As you'll see, it's split into two channels, left and right. But this is basically a repeat of the same information. It's exactly the same information. So what we can do is we can select this at the bottom here and delete that. And I like to just sort of tidy this up a little bit before sending to a production manager. So session name, TX10, sample rate, we can leave all this stuff. 25 frames. This is also important that you've got the right timecode format here. You can go into your session in, in fact, I'll just show you that, in Setup Session in Pro Tools. Here you've got your timecode rate. So you can set that to whatever. 25 is fairly standard, but just check with your production manager what the timecode rate actually is. So going back into here, yeah, so here we've got opening theme and episode cues, and you've got your song, episode cues, closing theme. You can do a little tidy up here, which is quite a neat little trick where you just go, let's just get rid of this, replace all, and get rid of that, get rid of that. We don't need that. Maybe tidy this up a little bit for tidiness sake. And that is your finished EDL. And this can go off to the production manager where they've got all the information they require for the cue sheet. If you're lucky, you've got a production manager. If you don't, you have to do the cue sheet yourself. But it's quite simple to do. You just need to copy these into your thing. Call these what you like once you're in your cue sheet. And there you go. Hope that's been useful. Cheers. Bye.